WRAI-TV with Grant Stinchfield.
Hi there, folks. Welcome to the program. Fake news comes in many forms. I have proof that a TV producer, without ever getting in front of a camera, can push their agenda, all too often without the anchor even knowing. Look at this report about the Dallas Safari Club convention held in Dallas last week. Listen to what the anchorwoman reads. An anti-hunting script that will literally portray a picture about safari hunting and specifically the hunting of endangered animals that is misleading at best, deceptive at worst. Either way, it is not the truth, and words are powerful because this one story can have a negative effect on the perceptions about hunting. As for whoever wrote the story, their anti-hunting bias is on full display. Listen.
The event often results in protests by animal rights activists because the group auctions off permits to kill endangered animals all around the world.
All right, let's take that sentence and break it down. Yes, protests are often sparked by animal rights extremists, as I call them, not activists, as she does. And the line that reads auctions off permits to kill endangered animals around the world, two problems. One, it's flat out bogus. And the use of kill is very powerful. I actually prefer the use hunt animals. But kill is often used because of the strong negative emotions it sparks. And kill endangered animals across the world makes it seem as the Dallas Safari Club is auctioning off dozens, if not hundreds, of endangered species hunting permits. Turns out that's flat out wrong too. The Dallas Safari Club has only auctioned off 2 hunts for an endangered species, ever. They were for 2 black rhinos, and one of those was auctioned at the convention. Only one at that convention. That's a far cry from hunts around the world. What the media doesn't tell you is those rhinos were older and damaging the survival of the herd. One of the hunted rhinos had killed 7 other younger black rhinos. The species just cannot survive that. And the government in the countries the rhinos inhabited wanted the 2 rhinos thinned from the herd. It was the government's decision to help save the herd. But that is part of the story you never, ever hear. Saying endangered species permits are auctioned off across the globe, just flat out wrong. It is fake news, and it could easily be corrected if reporters just ask. But the media never does that anymore. They push their own agenda, and it's usually anti-guns, which means anti-hunting. Well, the Trump administration is working on a bipartisan immigration bill right now, but some are worried it won't include funding for a border wall, something I've been calling for since my run for Congress back in 2012. Vice President Mike Pence on Martha McCallum last night cleaned up any confusion.
I think the president's been very clear. There's no deal on DACA without a wall.
Without a physical wall.
And not only without a wall, Martha, but also without ending the visa lottery program and ending the kind of chain migration that has resulted in people coming into this country that have done harm to Americans in recent months.
Make no mistake, immigration policy is very complex. The problems that we see and challenges of immigrants coming from overseas, specifically the Middle East, are very different from the problems that we see coming from the South. And both ways to fix those problems require very, very different solutions. But I will tell you this, the president made it clear during the campaign that he wanted a wall. It was his #1 campaign promise. He came out yesterday and said, no DACA deal unless a wall is built. Well, Dale Wilcox is the president of Immigration Reform Law Institute. Dale, great to have you on the program.
Thanks for having me.
Dale, I bet you're like me. Over the last couple of weeks, I started to hear even Republicans start to use the term wall as if a technology wall was okay and they were getting away from a complete physical barrier. I'm hopeful both the vice president and the president's comments were clearing this up, but this was wordplay designed to confuse, correct?
That's what it sounds like. It's sad the establishment is trying to water this down and lower expectations, but as we all know, the president ran on a border wall, and he made clear then a big, beautiful wall, a physical wall.
Yeah, and I think it's imperative because I have looked at statistics of where they have built walls, specifically portions of the California border into Arizona, where literally in every instance they've built a wall, mind you, crossings have gone down. It will never cut it out altogether. We know that, but it will severely limit the number of crossings, and anyone that says anything differently is flat out lying.
It's true. You can look at countries that have built a border wall. Hungary, for instance, I think they had border crossings from Serbia. It was up to upwards of 300,000 a year. And then after they built their wall, it dropped to less than 18,000 a year. And this year alone, it's down to 1,000. Walls work.
Yeah, down near San Diego, I know they have built a very, very impressive wall there, and it reduced crossings by almost 96%, which is an amazing number. So we've got to get back to doing that. Speaking of California, California is the #1 sanctuary state in the country. Dale Wilcox, how do they get away with this?
Well, states do have a lot of autonomy in what they can do. However, California has gone too far. Their Senate Bill 54 went into effect January 1st, and essentially this bill, this new law, states that their state and local law enforcement cannot assist federal immigration authorities. We believe the law is unconstitutional. It violates the supremacy clause of the U.S. Constitution. It's disturbing that California has considered the interests and welfare of illegal aliens above their own citizens and legal residents.
Can you imagine the difference now between California passing laws to mandate that they don't comply with the federal government compared to Texas working on laws to mandate that officials do comply with federal law? The difference is stark, and I really believe the rest of the nation could learn from the Texas model.
Well, absolutely. Look at who has the lion's share of criminal aliens and illegal aliens in general. California, 2.6 million, and that was an estimate from almost 10 years ago. So contrast that with Texas, who is tough on illegal immigration and is a good partner with federal immigration authorities. Much different, much lower. Illegal aliens essentially come across the border and try to get to California, those places who have declared themselves sanctuary jurisdictions, at the peril of the citizens who live there.
Of course, and as soon as you declare yourself a sanctuary city or a sanctuary county or a sanctuary state, what's going to happen? Anybody who needs sanctuary is going to run there, and that's what we're seeing in California. What do you make of Director Homan's comments? This is the director of ICE, Immigration's Customs Enforcement, basically saying we need to start holding elected officials accountable. And basically, almost basically said nothing short of locking them up.
I agree with the director. It's interesting. California, they really took notice of Homan's comments, and since then, they've introduced a new Senate Bill, Senate Bill 183. This bill says that ICE, and Homan's statement was, we will flood, okay, California's law went into effect January 1st. We're going to flood California with ICE agents. So what did California do? They've introduced a bill that says ICE agents are not allowed in any California state building, courthouses, hospitals, schools, colleges, etc. That bill actually passed out of committee in the Senate in California 2 days ago.
Can you imagine? So California saying, no, we will not allow federal agents into public buildings in their own state. What do they want to do? Secede from the United States? What happens if we're invaded? What happens if a nuclear bomb is launched from North Korea to California? Do they not want the help of the federal government to stop it before it lands?
California would not do well to secede from the country. California is bankrupt. They're playing with their retirement funds to make it look like they're in the black. They depend on federal money. If they were to secede, they would go broke. So sadly, the rest of us are suffering for what California is doing.
I hate to keep comparing Texas and California, but think about this. California would not do well seceding from the United States. The United States may very well do very well if California seceded from the United States. Texas can handle its own if they seceded from the United States. America would be worse off if Texas seceded from the United States.
You're absolutely right. Texas, pro-law enforcement, pro-America, whereas California, sadly, these days have decided to cut themselves off from the country, except taking our money. And I feel bad for those residents and legal citizens there in the state.
Well, it is no coincidence that NRA TV broadcasts from the heart of Texas, right here in Dallas. Dale Wilcox, we appreciate you coming on the program, my man. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, and great work that they do over there. I urge everyone to check out their work. Very, very informative. That's why we have them on. All right, I am sick and tired of liberals who have no knowledge about guns or how to keep themselves safe, lecturing all of us, by the way. They attack the NRA for their own financial gain. They use the NRA and NRA TV as their boogeymen to rally their anti-gun troops. The reality is we are here for all Americans. We speak for all Americans. Some don't even know it. We do it to make sure that none of your rights are infringed. We are here to ensure you have the ability to keep yourself safe. It's all we want, to make sure everyone is safe and has the tools and knowledge to not be a victim. We told you yesterday about Keith Olbermann tweeting about Dom Rosso's recent video where he literally shows us what to do during an attack in a place like a movie theater. If you watch this video there on your screen, Dom does everything technically correct, everything in the exact manner that you would do to keep yourself safe if you found yourself in that situation. Information is all about knowledge, and knowledge is power. That video is powerful and helpful to keep you safe. Well, here's what Olbermann wrote. Another reminder that every time there's a mass shooting and every time somebody becomes fearful that there might be one, the NRA makes money for itself and its clients, like big tobacco. It has monetized the death of Americans. Give me a break, and how dare he? Olbermann's followers need to realize by wanting us to stop producing videos like that, Keith Olbermann takes away from them, and it takes away valuable information they can use to keep themselves safe. I talked to my buddy Dom Rosso, the veteran Navy SEAL and NRA commentator, earlier about all of this. Dom, welcome to the program.
How's it going, Grant?
You know, it amazes me that these liberals try to call us out for trying to keep people safe, and literally they look like fools doing it.
Every time a tweet goes out or social media goes out, why are we allowing them to continue to have all these people following them, all the communication that's happening, and not pointing out the fact that we are literally starting from a base level of human safety and capabilities in order to just live a more aware and safe life for you, your family. Like, genuinely, that's what I want. I spent 12 years in the Navy, hunting bad guys, seeing the evil in the world. I know that evil exists. This stuff is not going to go away. I want people to understand that we're starting on a base level of literally their safety. I don't care what your views are, politically, left or right. I don't care. I just want you to go home at the end of the night to see your family. But yet somehow, this idea of me trying to bring a capability to you, I don't care whether you're in the movie theater, I don't care if you're going to the bank, it's on your mind about having an awareness level that says, you know what, if something does happen, I do want to be prepared. Even if I'm not carrying a gun, I want to be able to go to an area of safety or break contact or get out of there and pull my baby or pull my kid out of that area so I don't get harmed and I can get out of the area of the threat. And at the end of the day, they're somehow turning that idea into something that's negative and an evil manner, saying we're trying to monetize on trying to make people safer.
It amazes me that they even go down that road, because I can speak for experience. I'm so proud to work for a group like NRA TV that literally is committed, Dom, to keeping people safe. And though I know your videos, dude, they're unbelievable. They're highly produced. Yes, they're entertaining to watch. But my argument is entertainment is the best way to inform. And if you look at every single one of your videos, it is a tactically correct way to handle a situation. You watch that video of you in the movie theater. You know, I watch you. You got behind that seat and you were using it as cover. You could use the seat as a flat platform to take a shot at an intruder like that. All of that is real. And if people take that in, they're safer because of it. And then you got a guy like Keith Olbermann who comes out and wants to call you into question. Anybody that follows him on Twitter, really, Keith Olbermann needs to be embarrassed for his actions.
The media and Hollywood, they're really smart. They know they have that arm and that ability to communicate with people. Well, we are playing catch up, but you know what? We're doing it. And at the end of the day, it does take communication and entertainment to get people to understand what's important and get it out there. If we can't communicate to you in your iPhone or while you're sitting in your living room, then we're not getting the message out there. Being a part of the NRA, and this is what's funny about most people that try to attack what we're doing, is say it's all about guns. Well, I'm here to tell you that that's not the case at all. I've always been a part of the NRA, and it's always been about freedom. Whether you go home and don't have a gun at the end of the night or you do, you have the freedom to choose to do that, and that's what we're fighting for. That's where everything started. And at the end of the day, you know what? You're either on board or you're not. You're either paying attention to what we need to be fighting for in this country, your own personal safety. I don't care how you choose to do that, but keeping your family safe, that's what it's all about for us. So at the end of the day, I'm proud to be doing what we're doing, and I hope more people get on board.
You know, Dom, for anybody out there that's following a guy like Keith Olbermann or any of the other liberals out there that continuously hammer away at the NRA simply because they need the NRA as a boogeyman so they can raise money, I ask them this. Who are you going to trust when it comes down to your safety? A guy like Dom Rosso, a Navy SEAL. A guy like Chuck Holton, a veteran Army Ranger. A guy like Dan Bongino, a Secret Service agent. I can keep going down the list. You go to the Carry Guard instructors, all guys who worked with you in Navy SEALs and Green Berets. Who are you going to trust? Keith Olbermann? I don't think so.
Keith Olbermann's got 1 million followers on Twitter, and when you look at his audience, what can you say about Keith Olbermann and his knowledge on personal safety? Nothing. And then you take the fact that I've got a lifetime of experience that I've tried to apply to genuinely come home to my home front, to the place that I couldn't wait to get back to and enjoy the freedoms that we have here, and give people all the knowledge that I took away from that experience to make them better, just to make them more capable. Genuinely, that's where it all starts for me. But yet I have to hear it from guys like Keith Olbermann, which have a resume of getting fired, not understanding personal safety, and just using it to his political agenda and attack us. Not happening.
Not happening. And truth is, as I think you and I both agree, anybody out there that does it ought to be embarrassed. One, because they're talking about something they know nothing about. And two, they're giving false information to their followers that could get their followers killed. We're giving them information that could save their lives.
And all I'm saying is that if people are on the fence and they're really trying to look inside themselves and understand their own mindset from where they stand, I'm going to tell you right now, I care about people's personal safety. Everybody at the NRA does. We care about everybody's personal safety equally. You have the right to personal protection and to go home at the end of the night, and we want to make sure that happens, and we want to make sure you have the capability to do it. Don't let people like Keith, don't let people in Hollywood, don't let these media people that have no knowledge and experience and background and understanding the subject affect your decision to do what's right.
So think about what Dom is saying there. He's basically saying when you go into a movie theater, do you think about the possibility of what could happen? And if you don't think about it, then maybe you've been living wrapped up in bubble wrap for way too long because you need to think about it. So when Keith Olbermann calls out an organization like the NRA and Dom Rosso, a Navy SEAL, for giving you the tools to keep yourself safe, you've got to start asking yourself, is Keith Olbermann sincere about your well-being? My guess is he isn't. Keith Olbermann is just about self-promotion, and he doesn't care if you're safe or not. Honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I can tell you, and I speak for Dom Rosso as well, all we want is for all Americans to be safe out there. Just look at Keith Olbermann. Keith Olbermann, do you think that's a guy right there that wants all of you to be safe? I've said it once, I'll say it again. He ought to wrap himself up in a Snuggie before he uses the American flag like that. I'm Grant Stinchfield for NRA TV, and hey, Keith Olbermann, by the way, before I leave, how about you come on the program and let's talk about all of this. Let's have a respectful discussion about what it takes to keep yourself safe when you don't have the ability to hire armed bodyguards. That's my invitation to you, Keith Olbermann. I hope you take me up on it. Now I'm Grant Stinchfield for NRA TV. We'll see you here tomorrow, 9 o'clock Eastern Time.
You're watching NRA TV with Grant Stinchfield.